Going to start Coffee with the Board, 9 o'clock. Before we start, I just want a couple things that are coming up in the next week or two. This Monday, 6 o'clock at the Villa Park Library, will be a training session for the Villa Park, the My Villa Park app. So if anybody is interested in training or learning how to use that, 6 o'clock at the library. Tuesday the 6th is National Night Out, 5:30 through 8 o'clock at Cortese Park. And then Thursday, August 15th, will be the ribbon cutting at Lufkin. 4 o'clock, there'll be a band and some festivities, and then 5 o'clock will be the actual ribbon cutting, and then that night will be the concert at Cortese. So with that, we'll open it up. Whoever would like to speak. And please, if you speak, if you just give your name so that we can just write it down. You can talk from back there if you want.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for the donut.
Oh, you're welcome.
My name is Jeff. My wife's name is Crossy. We live at 1101 South Villa, across the street from Albright School. There is a traffic issue that I have addressed a handful of times with the Villa Park Police, and they have always sent an officer over. The officer will be there a minute, cherries go on, pull somebody over, gives them a ticket, and then they don't come back. So the problem is it's about more than 50% of the people, I don't know, I'm sure, with we've all done it, the distracted driving and the lack of not being able to clearly see the stop sign. It's an issue and I have a problem with it. And so do our children, and the teachers across the school are always like, what the,
Yep.
So to the south of the school, facing north and facing south, there is 2 solar power blinking stop signs that appear to be, at a glance, more effective than the one that I have, which is offset about 7 feet off the road, off a Villa, and has 0 reflective qualities. I've even taken some, I'm admitting, I guess, to defacing government property. I've actually taken some of my own reflective tape and tried to put it around the bottom, just so you could see it, and it didn't do anything. It's up so high, and it's set off so far.
That's a stop sign?
Yes, sir.
Now and that's at Van Buren Villa?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep, there's one going south and there's one going north. And just no one stops, and if you have the time, drop by, and you'll see that it's become a drag strip also. I like fast cars, I like things that make noise, but I don't like it at 3 o'clock in the morning. Or when there's blind and handicapped children being escorted out to their bus after school. It's out of hand, and I need your help with it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll talk to the village manager and probably also traffic and safety,
Okay.
because it's usually where all those issues start. Have you gone to traffic and safety at all?
No, I haven't, but that's going to be my next.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, like it's bad.
It's bad, and this issue comes up a lot in Villa Park, all over.
Yeah.
We had, a while back, we had an issue on Vermont. People were complaining about cars there, and, we try to address it, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's all over town.
But it's just a stop sign.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the solar blinking stop signs could.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop, but it would certainly be a step in the right direction. Then
Sure.
after that, maybe we could put down the tire strips and we could just start blowing people's tires out. There you go. Yeah. Baby steps.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll bring it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to piggyback on that. You live on Villa?
Villa and Van Buren, we're right on the corner.
Yeah, I'm your neighbor. I
Oh,
live on Oakland.
oh,
And I
well,
gotta tell you, they're absolutely correct. There's people blowing that stop sign all the time. So anything, and some of my other neighbors have mentioned it too. So I think that shouldn't be something that's addressed. Why they put this flashing sign down, what is it, at Colbert?
Yeah.
Where they put the flashing signs, but not there. And especially in the late afternoon when people are coming home from work, they're just flying right through there. Seeing that we're on the topic of distracted driving, I was just driving down here today, coming down Villa, Ardmore, which I usually do when I come this way. You get to the Prairie Path, and it's a very busy path. There's people walking and riding a bike and running down there all the time. But right at the end of, on Ardmore and the Prairie Path, there's always some type of a sign there. People put out there for a garage sale or some event that's coming around. And I just worry about people driving down there, they're watching for people running, but then they get distracted by trying to read the sign. For something that maybe the police should go there and pull those signs out, but it's just not safe. Especially today, there's one sign out there for National Night Out, which is what the police put out. So,
Okay.
so that's distracted driving. I got one more, another thing, got more, but I'll save the rest of them. I just wanted to make a comment. I think on the last board meeting, Nick made a comment about the new home builders in town. And I just want to say, I think our community development department is doing really well. McLaughlin is his name.
Laughlin, yeah.
And there's more new home building, more remodeling projects going around in town now than I've seen in years. Over the last couple of years, builders would come in town and they'd be complaining about, oh, you can't build in Villa Park, it's terrible, you can't do it. That all was because they didn't want to spend the money that was necessary to meet the village codes. But apparently, Manco, which is located on Addison Road, he's figured it out. There's signs all over the place and he's building houses, you know, on empty lots. So it can be done. He's not the only one that's doing it, but he's doing a good job, and our community development department is doing a good job. Give you a little story. Years ago, when the Ross's Dress for Less came in town, after they left, they said, "This is the best town we've ever worked at." Right now, we have Bell Tire on Roosevelt Road. They must like working with Villa Park, because they're going to build another location on North Avenue. So all these rumors that, oh, don't build in Villa Park, that you can't deal with them, apparently aren't true. Because all those other ones just don't want to meet the codes. So, but it's getting much better, and the community development department is doing very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Joe.
Joel Maury, 309 East Maple. In addition to other events that you mentioned, I wanted to point out that the Tri-Town YMCA is sponsoring a back-to-school resource fair today over at St. A's Gym on Cornell from 1 to 3. There'll be 27 different vendors there. There'll be including the Bike Pedestrian Transit Subcommittee, who will be passing out literature and Drive Like Your Kids Live Here signs. There'll be multilingual vendors for those whose English is not their first language, in cooperation with the Tri-Town. This is coordinated by the Villa Park Area Early Childhood Collaborative, supported by Bright and Early DuPage, Endeavor Health, Earth to 5 Illinois. There will be immunizations. There will be a lot of free backpacks handed out, a lot of free accommodations for kids, getting kids back into school. School registration information, pre-K screenings, school physicals and immunizations, school supplies assistance, interactive booths, children's entertainment. Like I said, St. A's Gym over on Cornell, will be just south of north of the Prairie Path. 1 to 3. Also, anybody went to the county fair and stayed late? I heard they had an awesome drone show. I had suggested way back when that if we have some kind of event to celebrate the opening of Lufkin Park, that we could possibly look into something like that, maybe on a smaller scale. And since someone at the county's already done the research and determined the cost, maybe you could coordinate with your county board rep or one of the 3 that we have for this area that could, or someone at the county DuPage Fair organization, and find out just how that was made possible. Because I think because we don't have fireworks on the 4th and people usually go some other place, I think that might be a foot in the door to actually create an event for the holidays down the road. Otherwise, I got nothing.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Donna?
I had emailed Mark about, I went to Lombard's Farmers Market twice this year. They hold theirs from 3 to 7 or 2 to 7 on Tuesdays. We used to hold ours on Saturdays or Sundays from like 8 to 1, and I don't think it was well attended because people were either out of town or at baseball games or whatever. So, church. So I was thinking, could we get back into doing a farmer's market, but do it on a weekday? Maybe somewhere around the train station. Lombard's is right on that street where they just, put that big arch right by the train station. It's like the first intersection west of Main.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, every time I go, I spend $25 there. Then, I mean, it's not a huge one, they maybe have 15 vendors, so it's no more than what we have, but I don't think ours was well attended because of the time.
When they
It
first
was.
started it was, because I lived right down the street from there, and it was pretty busy, and then it just gradually kind of,
Yeah.
Faded
but I'm
out, and then
thinking,
there were
you know,
less vendors, yeah.
If we can get it from like 3 to 7, you're gonna get the people that are getting off the train,
Yeah.
getting off of work. Because on the weekends, I mean, it's hard for people being either out of town, baseball games, church,
Yeah.
visiting family, cottages. So I'd like to someone look into that.
Sure.
I don't know if that was village sponsored or some organization came in and got the permits to do that.
I looked online and there's some type of company that runs it.
Right, so they would want to have to come here. That's
Yeah.
But it was you fill out your application or whatever, but I mean, we don't know until we start investigating it, really.
what you asked.
In regard to that, you know, COVID, my wife does a seed exchange and she's into gardening, and COVID brought the attention of how food, dependent people are, and a lot of people started gardens and were growing stuff on their own. Now they've gotten accustomed to fresh grown, easily resourced vegetables, but now they're back to work, they may not have the time to attend the garden, so that might be something worth looking into.
Tim Allen, 309 West Park Boulevard. 3 quick things. The first one was from my wife. I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. The Prairie Path, I know there's signs all over the place saying no motorized vehicles and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Now with all the e-bikes, I know e-bikes is one thing, but the other thing though is like, because there's kids on dirt bikes actually wearing helmets and stuff like that. It's going up and down the Prairie Path all day. I just don't know how Villa Park can enforce that just because it's the Prairie Path. But it's just one of those where we're watching, we're sitting on our parks, we're watching it, and next thing you know, it's like, oh, there's another kid on a dirt bike, there's another kid on a dirt bike, it's more dirt bikes now than runners and bikers. Second of all, I'm just curious again about the separation project. Of course, it rained a couple weeks ago, obviously that was a lot of rain. I flooded again, backyard, front yard, came up to the house. I know they're in the planning, last I heard, they were in the design phases. Been asking for them, that they said they're gonna come on and talk to me about it, no one still hasn't talked to me about it, just seeing where that's at. I kinda did some work in my backyard, I probably put maybe about $500, it's kind of helping it, but it's not fixed.
Yeah, the last stage of that is connecting the new, when we expanded Jackson.
Yeah.
It's connecting from Michigan and Edison, I think, connecting coming down Jackson. That's in, I think it's in, yeah, I think that's in phase 2 right now. I don't know if it's gonna start this year or it'll definitely be next year.
Yeah, last time when I talked to everybody, because everything flows, from me, will flow towards the Prairie Path, not towards the park.
Okay,
So I'm completely different than everybody else.
okay,
But still, I mean,
yeah,
when I talked to Director
Guerrero.
Guerrero, he said that he was gonna come and have somebody look in my backyard and see if they can relieve it. Well, if they're in design phase, no engineers or anything has come out
Okay.
to look into my backyard.
Okay. What's your number, Tim?
630
Okay.
254 7594.
Okay.
And then third, and this is just because it's been sitting very, very bad with me, the manager, every time I'm in contact with him via email, it's only been a few times, it's been very, very passive aggressive to me in responses. Like I've had one where he's like, oh, I was gonna email this to you sooner, but I got busy, so now I'm sending it to you now. Or when I get the weekly reports, some of his comments are very, very off-putting. Like, you know, why is he talking about settling debts during the Ides of March? You know, how he's gonna get even with people, when it's like, oh, he was just telling what's going on in Villa Park. It's just been very, very unsettling, and it makes me want to question, is he actually doing a good job for Villa Park? That's all.
Okay. Yes.
My name is Vicki Maxon, and it concerns a house at 522 South Euclid. I got a violation notice saying that my garage leaned. So I had Summit come out, and they looked at it and they said it leaned a little bit, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had the roof redone like 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I called them up and I says, I had somebody come over and check it. So they came back to look at it, and Bob Bonnet lives at the house, I rented to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an encounter, and I just wasn't happy with the answer.
There were two people that had come out. There was Deanna Henderson.
Danita?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
she looked at the garage and really didn't see what the problem was, other than it needs a new coat of paint, a few things like that. And she brought out another time Mick Bolt,
Okay, yeah.
and he effectively said the garage had to come down. It has to be replaced. It has to be replaced with a two-car garage. Suggested that if need be, we get a home equity loan to do it, because as near as I can tell, it's gonna be $40,000 to replace the garage. And he said, you have to replace it with a two-car structure. We're confused, basically.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to have it repainted if that's what the problem is. If there is some structure damage on one side where the boarding has rotted, that'll be replaced.
Is it a one-car garage right now?
Two.
It's a two-car, okay.
They gave me a month to tear down the garage, and they're giving me a year to rebuild it.
Did they give you 40,000?
So I says, well, can we fix it? He goes, no, it's not fixable, you gotta tear it down. And I don't have the money
Yeah.
to rip down this garage and build a new one. He's not gonna be living there much longer, and after he moves out, I'm just gonna tear down everything anyway and have homes built on it. But I can't see building a two-car garage in the middle of this two lots and then have to.
Okay. I'll look into that with Mark.
I'm sorry?
I said Mark McLaughlin's the community development director. We'll take a look at that for.
Yeah, like I said, we're confused. It's certainly not worth $40,000 for a couple of years' use.
Yeah. Okay. What's your number, Vicki?
630-750-2379.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. I'm sorry, we're closing.
Yeah, exactly. I hate to piggyback off that one so quickly, but you know, every first Thursday and third Thursday, we have our kangaroo court where Mick gets to expounds about his knowledge. Mick has a GED. He's not a structural engineer. And for him to tell people what they should do with their property has been an ongoing problem for 15 years now. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised Mick came up, because when did Mick come out?
I'm gonna say maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
This whole thing started, we got the notice on April 3rd.
But that was not to demolish it.
Mm-hmm,
The
yeah,
only letter we got is your garage is lean.
yeah,
And I had the Summit people come out, and they said clean a little bit, it looks okay.
Mhm.
And I'm just, why he wouldn't let us
Yeah.
see if we can fix it.
sure.
But thank you again.
We had the talk a couple of years ago about the fact is that there doesn't seem to be any continuing education for some of our municipal inspectors. And I had a talk with Lori about it a while ago, and she had admitted to it.
Mhm.
You can't have these people just rewriting the rules whenever the hell they want.
Yeah.
I mean, this lady doesn't have $30,000.
Yeah.
And even if she did, she's probably got better things to do with it. You know, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been going on now for, what is it, since 2000? 14 years?
Yeah, I know, Mark's been trying to clean up the building inspectors and stuff, and I thought that they were getting better as far as,
Danita's been great.
Yeah.
Danita is actually, I mean, you know, there's a lot of, the contractors have been complaining about Danita.
Mhm.
And Lori sort of got her act together.
Mm.
But this is,
yeah,
oh, by the way, go take out a home equity loan, because you know what? Yeah, come on. That's not what people do. Don't go to old people and say, I'm sorry, go take out a home equity loan and say, I'm sorry, didn't mean to insult you by saying old people, but because they did the same thing to me.
yeah, correct. Hey, you ain't no spring chicken either.
So enough of that. Second thing was this guy talked about the guy from Park Street. Was it 2 weeks ago Friday where the bike guy got hit? Were you there that Friday morning?
I was not, no.
Okay, I was actually driving there. And again, my point, and this goes back to, I think we got to get some charm school training for some of our employees. Guy in full kit, you know, bicycle, must have been in his late 20s or so, got hit on Monterey and got hit pretty hard. It hasn't been in the news, it hasn't been anywhere, and again, I know a Villa Park fire department guy, and I said to him, hey, what happened to that poor guy? I can't talk about it. I mean, it was a double secret probation to say, okay, somebody got killed on that intersection and we're not gonna do anything about it, or somebody didn't get killed. I mean, it's like, I can't talk about it?
I don't
HIPAA
think- I don't think he
regulations.
should talk to you about that. He's not a professional, and you would take it as somebody with authority giving you information.
It's HIPAA
And now there
regulations.
could be, you know, maybe there's
That's right.
litigation going on, and whatever the guy says could be, you know, you could be the guy's father, you know, so I don't know. I'll ask
I
about
didn't
that.
think about that one, but you're
I
absolutely
used,
right.
Yeah.
I used to be a fireman, and when there was like accidents and stuff like that, we were told, you know, especially with residents coming up, especially if
Yeah.
it was.
Well, it's one thing with residents, yeah. it's
No,
one-
no, no, but even like with me, if you were a resident coming up to me and I'm the paramedic, hey, what happens? Like, if it's an ongoing investigation or somebody gets hurt, have that liberty to talk about it. That's right.
Yeah,
So,
it could be, yeah.
So is
Yeah, I'll find out.
was this an accident at Monterey and the Prairie Path?
What's that?
Was this an accident at Monterey and the Prairie Path?
It
with
was.
a biker?
Yes.
I live right at Monterey, and the Prairie Path there is awful. I
It is.
stop there, I honk.
I've
Yeah.
done
It doesn't
The
matter.
site triangle is not good.
It's really bad,
Yeah.
and I don't know
Traffic
what
and
we can
safety
do
should look at
to
that.
fix that. I feel bad for whoever lives in that home that has to sit there and watch that every day, because there's that picture window that just looks right down Monterey, and like, oh, I'm sure they see a lot of things.
That site triangle's been an issue for years, because even when Cheryl Tucker was on the board, she had brought it up various times, like something simple like, you know, they were talking earlier about a flashing stop sign or cutting back
Cut
the
the brush.
trees.
Cut back the trees, force some force them to stop when they're coming down the hill from the
Oh, yeah,
Elmhurst
people
area.
they go
They're
fast,
flying.
and there's a lot of,
Yeah.
They're flying.
but it's a
Yeah.
blind corner, and
Yeah.
again, like I said, that was not a pretty sight.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a whole lot of broken carbon graphite.
Larry Hebert, 802 South Villa. So we're right with the village, and we're on the corner. If we address this enough times, maybe, I don't know what the cops can do about it.
Hey, just keep doing it.
We live right in the southwest corner, and that's where they're coming from the north.
Yeah.
When the bar's closed, they slow down with that stop sign, and then they gun it. And you hear my noise, you're 2 blocks away, and you can hear the noise.
I can hear it on Rand, which
Yeah.
is just
So, I
behind
mean,
Lufkin.
we get it all Friday night and Saturday night. And when you got your air on, it's a little better. But it's really, I don't know what they can do. I started writing down the times, because the vehicles are gone. But I thought, if I can get a certain number of times, like 1:20 to 2:20, maybe we can get a cop in there for an hour. Just make note of some of those times.
I mean, it's like, I've called, I'm not exaggerating, 5 or 6 times, and almost every time they've sent an officer out, and the officer will sit in between, there's a house in the school, or they'll sit in, 50 feet on Van Buren, and within 2 minutes, boom, they're off after somebody.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's any time of the day.
It's really hard thing. The other thing
But yes, like, 2 o'clock on a Saturday morning, I mean, I don't want.
Yeah, no,
I've got a high
I get
performance
you.
squad, I love it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna make it your burden at 2 o'clock in the morning, waking you up out of bed.
Thank you, appreciate
How many
that.
How many police do we have on,
Can
on a shoot?
I,
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry.
following up on your, sorry.
So, the other thing I wanted to address was, the prairie path, at every intersection we have in town. I have seen that some towns are now putting up, I don't wanna call it a barricade across
Yes.
the prairie path
You gotta
before
go
the
around
street.
it.
Okay, I don't know where we are on that, but then the bikers have to stop, cause they have to go around it. And and it's not just the bikers, the runners too, I mean, it's crazy. The runners, the walkers sort of stop, but people on bikes and running, if they have to go around something, it's gonna slow them down. And I think if it's not that expensive to put in 2 posts and a 2x4 or something, to stop them from going right into the street. You gotta slow down, go around it, at least they'll look a little bit. And I wanna, for what it's worth, I was going north on Villa, and an older person, these older people.
Sorry about that.
When I get old, I'll let you know. But anyway, this guy was on a bicycle going west, and I slowed down because there's nobody in sight. I slowed down. Here comes this guy like a bat out of hell right in front of me. Okay, didn't slow down, nothing. So I honked my horn. Like, I'm here. I could have hit you. A cop stopped me. He stopped me, not the guy that didn't stop at the stop sign. He stops me and tells me I can't do that. It's a violation. I said, no, it's not. I said, you use your horn because it's a warning thing. That's what horns are for. So he let it go.
Yeah.
But we really could use something to slow down.
Wow, my goodness, have that horn.
Yeah. Later, you gotta calm down.
Old guy tapping his horn, and the other old guy.
But I'm almost out of fluid in the horn too.
Oh, I bet. I've been there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to comment on 2 things, because as I said, his whole thing here about the thing, we don't own the Prairie Path, even though we do act that we own the Prairie Path.
Yeah.
The Prairie Path is owned by the Prairie Path Foundation, which is part of DuPage County, which has federal funds, and they have lots of different things that go in there. There was a lot of heartache when that rail went across on the path there on, where was that?
Oh, right.
It's on, is that Westmore?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of thing there because,
Well, that's on the Great Western.
That's a Great Western,
that's,
yeah.
that's exactly, there you go, you
Yeah.
hit that. And the Prairie Path Foundation said that's Great Western Trail, we don't manage it, we don't have the money for it, we don't do that. So therefore, whoever at Villa Park put that thing in there, and they said, we can't stop them from doing that. But, and again, The most interesting thing about this is that the area that is Villa and Prairie Path is the most congested area on the entire Prairie Path. There are more people that use that area there. I went to one of the Prairie Path meetings about 15 years ago, talking about Monterey, when our group didn't do anything at that time. And there was a lot of this sorry, kind of thing. So this is an ongoing problem here, and again, what are we gonna do? Our traffic safety says they can't do anything, the Prairie Path people say they can't do anything, and some poor guy gets, hit.
Yeah.
Can somebody do something? I mean, can you do something?
I could. I mean, I could stand out there. No, there's. No, but it's like
Telling people what to do.
it's the same thing about the people going racing up and down Villa and they're racing up and down Vermont. I mean, there's only so much that the cops can do. As far as putting barricades up, I haven't really seen any on the Prairie Path. We just rode it a couple of weeks ago, all the way out to Glen Ellen, and in fact, Lombard is redoing their.
There's one at Westmore.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You have a protected crossing.
Yeah, but that's about the only one.
That's the green West.
Yeah, with buttons, but there's no way like where you have to go around.
Don't go around,
Yeah, right.
That post, I think it made.
What's that?
Like I mean, we'll keep looking.
It's gonna save a life,
Yeah. That Prairie Path in Monterey though, that is a major problem. We gotta look at that.
Path or all the overgrowth, that's all in the county break path.
Yeah.
But I think we should just go there and cut it down
Yeah.
and ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Break some rules here.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, really.
I'm not disagreeing with you, trust me, you know me. Let's break some rules.
So, of course, these problems are just gonna be doubled when they complete the tri-trail. You're gonna have another crossing with limited sightlines. I argued vigorously against laying it out that way. I wanted the tri-trail to be a part of the Prairie Path and begin at Monterey and go south along the east end of Ovaltine. But we were told, oh, it's in it's in phase 2, even though it's still officially in the planning stage. And now you have this situation where under the Villa Avenue Improvement Project, they want to improve the crossings on Villa at Thomas and 2nd Street to get across to the west side and then back. But I've been advocating that they eliminate that whole situation by just redoing the plan so that you have protected bike lanes on the east side of Villa between Thomas and 2nd. Because, again, they say it's in planning and they can't change it, which is a lot of crap because it's sitting on a desk in Springfield waiting for an IDOT, some engineer to approve it. And it's been in planning since '21. But the fact is that nobody wants to take into consideration. I hear Mike Guerrero telling me, well, it has to do with cost. Well, did they lay in the cost benefit analysis for if you do improve and widen the sidewalks on the west side between those two locations, you're not taking into consideration that you've got 4 mature parkway trees between Thomas and the railroad. You've got 2 fire hydrants that you have to deal with. I don't know why, a redesign hasn't been considered and looking at the different costs. Because all you have to do is narrow that center island, going over the tracks, redo some of the signage for turning, and then you don't have conflicts on 4 streets: Maple, Plymouth, Beach, and Vermont, where you're gonna have people crossing and trying to get in and out of then you got this new development north of Canadian National, where you're gonna have trucks going in and out of there, crossing that path. Where now a guy who's gonna make a left turn, he's gotta worry about not only traffic coming toward him, but bikes maybe coming up behind him on the path. Just move it to the east. That's our property, or at least we're maintaining it between the Canadian National and 2nd, because I saw village crews out there mowing the brush. So we're the lead on that project. Elmhurst is contributing on cost, but we're the lead on the design.
Okay. Donna?
Just driving around town, and I brought this up before, there's a gas station on North, across from the Ollie.
Mm-hmm.
It's been in disrepair and empty and weeds growing forever. If you go down St. Charles, Typhoon, the Chinese restaurant is up and gone. That looks terrible. I mean, do we have any repercussions to be able to, go after whoever owns that land and say, hey, we know you're vacant, but at least keep it clean and keep it in repair?
Yeah, I had drove by the one on North Avenue and I brought that up with the
I mean,
manager
that's been empty forever.
yeah. It wasn't real bad when I looked at it a couple of months ago, but I imagine if they haven't been doing anything there, it's getting worse, but we can look at that.
Isn't that Addison?
Pardon me?
Is that Addison or is
Yeah.
that Villa Park?
No, that's Villa Park.
Or Villa Park?
It's Villa Park.
Typhoon's old park and across from Aldi is a gas station. In fact, I think they were in front of the board many years ago for a liquor license for that location, so I know that's.
Yeah, it's Villa, right on the other side of the tracks, the CN tracks.
It's between the Enterprise and the.
It's kind of like where that Angle Street comes if you're coming off on North and you want to get to Addison.
Yeah.
Oh, right by the medical marijuana office.
Yeah. Cheryl, or Christine, sure.
Yep, lot on
Thank
the
you.
corner
Thank you.
of Park and Ardmore's getting bad too. There's a trailer in there, there's a covered car in there, there's 2 parked cars in there. I don't think it has anything to do with the construction going on with Sterling's and the condo buildings on Princeton. I think it's just either residents of that building, but now there's been a trailer and a covered car on there for, the covered car comes and goes. Not even that nice of a car to bother covering, but that's all pretty new stuff, but it's not good.
To piggyback off of a lot of what you talked about, with people speeding, not paying attention, people getting hit. We're just in a day and age where, people are doing what they choose to do, they're not following rules or laws and stretching things to their benefit. This has been getting worse, year after year. There was an instance on my corner, on Yale, where a pedestrian got hit by a kid that was speeding down the street and ended up going through my chain link fence and hitting the house next door. And I went to a traffic and safety meeting and nobody showed up. There was like one person there and they said, oh, we'll get with the police department, we'll monitor it, we'll put a speed thing on and we'll keep up with you on what we found. I sent out an email, didn't hear nothing back. That disappeared, and my big concern at that time was that we have a crossing guard on that corner. We have North School right down the street, and then we have Jefferson not too far, about 3 blocks from that corner as well. Why couldn't we put a stop sign up? And nothing was said as to, what was found or why, as I said. And the whole theory was that you can't put a stop sign up as a speed control device or something like that. But here's the thing: you're paying for a crossing guard to be on that corner because of safety to begin with for a school down the street. You have people that are utilizing that street, for, speeding and, whatever recreation they want to do in their car. Now you have the distracted driving on top of that as well. So maybe we should start considering, putting stop signs up and maybe classifying that reason, in a way that, we can get it on that corner. My point with all that is, that's going back number of years when that incident happened, but my point is that we can't have police everywhere. They can't hand out tickets,
that everybody sees. It's not possible. We need to be more creative on putting obstacles in, that deter some of that. I mean, and a good example, with the bike paths is having it where people have to stop and go around barriers. I mean, Schmeel's got a barrier on there as well. York Road, on one bike path, they have a stop control device where it gets hit by or activated by a pedestrian. I mean, whether they choose to use it or not, that's,
Yeah.
that's one thing, but
And we've got those on Moraine Villa on the Prairie Path.
where somebody can actually activate the signal,
Mhm.
yeah. But I mean,
They don't do it.
no, but you need to get, we just live in an
Yeah.
age, as I said, you need to get creative where there has to be obstacles or things in people's way that they can't do what they choose to do that make it dangerous for other people that they don't have a regard for.
Yeah.
I have two unrelated issues. The first one is a question. If a business takes over a previous business location, are ordinances that have been put in place with guidelines on operations restrictive to the previous business name, or do they get grandfathered by the address?
I think it depends on how the ordinance is written. I think if it's given to the property, then it would go with,
Give an instance.
Yeah.
Give an example of what you're talking about.
Sure, Fuel and Prem.
What?
Fuel and Prem over at, what is that, 324 Cornell,
Jack's place.
Central.
Yeah.
When I was on the board, we had discussions because that location is a mixed use, is how it's zoned, which is different, for example, from Demito's that's commercial. So we were hopeful at that time that we could give them an opportunity to have some entertainment there during certain days and hours. And it had to be coordinated with that apartment building that was right next door because that was residential. So we did get an ordinance giving them certain days and hours that they could have entertainment. I was hopeful that we would include in that holidays because holidays don't always fall on a Wednesday or a Friday or a Saturday. So now that that has changed to a different business owner, I'm wondering, there were a few different ordinances put into place for the tent and such over there. And I'm just wondering, is all of that grandfathered because of the address? Or was that done specifically for the owners of that facility at the time that the variance in the ordinance was?
I think I pointed out 2 months ago that Jack still owns that property.
Yeah, it's my understanding
So
that he's
therefore, property issues
financing.
are property issues, operational issues obviously would be operational. So if you're worried about the music,
I'm not worried about anything, Rolf.
no,
Did
I'm
I
just
say
saying,
I was worried about
just
anything?
curious. Sorry.
Rolf?
No, I asked a question. That's all I did, was ask a question. The other one I have, Donna, before I let you go, is there's been some references recently over the last couple of weeks relating to drones flying around the neighborhood.
What was that?
Drones.
Drones.
Do we have, is that requiring permits? I know you have to have a license, I'm not concerned about the license, I'm not even necessarily concerned about the drones. However, I do find it to be a little bit of an issue from a personal perspective because I believe those take recordings. And it's not that I'm doing anything at my house, but I don't know that residents.
There's no expectation of privacy in public. Sunbathing.
Yeah, I mean, it's cramping my stuff.
yeah, I saw that one of you.
There's no restriction in airspace and there's no restriction on filming in public.
Yeah, there are some restrictions. There are some,
If it comes down and looks in your window.
Yeah.
Now.
you know, like over a public,
We have a business and in Lombard, there are ordinances
Yeah.
that say you have
Ordinance
to have a
do
permit.
not, ordinance does not crush the
In
Constitution.
Well, it's, again, it's just a question. It's
We've
just a
got
question.
ordinances here in Villa Park.
And
that are
it's sometimes to understand.
There-
We don't enforce.
yeah. There are state laws that govern that.
There are laws that govern on that. Where are you getting your information from?
Not if you're in public.
Where
Yeah,
is
yeah.
your
your private land.
I'd like to understand from this gentleman where he's getting his information from.
Recorded audio, not video. Video, you can be recorded if you are outside.
You have to have
What you
it posted.
say cannot be recorded without your permission if you are on your own property.
Even videos available.
Well, they are on their own property, the drone's flying over everybody's house.
Yeah.
And it's called a 12 gauge. Whoa!
Oh, I could go for that.
Are we selling permits, duck permits for the Lufkin Park yet?
Not yet. Not yet. Next year.
Good.
Um,
No.
It's been brought up before and kind of got put on the back burner, and I think Al can relate to this, is the Villa 1550 property,
1330.
whatever it is. But the Airbnbs, what can be done about those? I mean, I have new people at the end of my block every week.
I talked to Manager Harline about that. We were going to try and get a COW about that, and the last
I
There's
know
a bunch,
it's been crazy because with.
yeah, a lot of stuff
Lufkin
going
and
on, but yeah, we will
Paris and
eventually.
stuff, I just didn't know if it was still on
Do
anyone's.
we have any idea what's going on that piece of property? There's like 15 cars in your yard.
Yeah, I don't know what's been happening lately. The last I heard, it was just they have been talking to them about what's going on.
Well,
But
that's all residential, and they're using it as commercial.
yeah,
It's what, yeah,
Yeah.
it's own residential.
Is it residential?
It's all residential
yeah.
and commercial use.
but historically, it was a
Yeah, because it was.
Like an Easter Seals house or something,
yeah, it
wasn't
was
it?
yeah, community home or something.
It was
Yeah.
like a-
And the person, I think, I found out that the person that owns it, like, lives in Elboro Village, so they're not like, they're not, they don't have any true love for
Yeah.
the neighborhood or what they're doing.
It used to, I did transfer ownership about 5 months ago. I have a concern I want to bring up.
Sure.
Besides that.
Yeah, we can do something with Mr. Mount.
I have concern about the decorum on the board during the board meetings.
Yes, I
And
second
that
that.
came up very blatantly, the one on the first Tuesday in July, when you guys were discussing the strategic plan, I think it is, and the photo on one of the suggested photos of people drinking, and I agree that that was not an appropriate photo. But there were some comments made during that were just beyond proper etiquette, and that were not exactly true at all. When you say the president has just recently passed out tons of liquor license. Well, the president doesn't okay liquor license. The village board does. All he does, his responsibility then is to sign them and to give them out. But all the approval for liquor license, when it changes or whatever, that's why we put in effect if somebody goes out of business, new people come in, they have to go reapply for a liquor license, comes back before the board, and the board approves every liquor license. But to make a comment that is blatantly not true is just not proper. And there were other comments made during that meeting too. It just popped right out at me so blatantly. I think the board ought to be more careful. We went back 14, 15, 16 years ago when we had a board that was strictly no cooperation, not accomplishing anything. A laughing stock to the western community, western suburbs, and it has gotten better. But what I saw on the 8th was not looking good for the forward.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So your feelings were hurt?
I was really.
You said it wrong, your fifis were hurt.
Well, then
Yes.
I also have a question on that similar topic. I'd like to get clarification, if I could, regarding discussions about elections during board meetings. It was always my understanding that election conversations were not appropriate in the boardroom. And yet during one of the board meetings, there was discussions about etiquette with the staff and electioneering and such, and
Well, that's okay. I mean, there's discussion about it, but you can't.
Prayer.
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of that either.
The discussions about that is fine. It's, you can't do any electioneering, you can't do any election-related things like getting signatures on village property.
But we determined that you can restrict staff from participating
cannot.
in,
You cannot do that. It is a First Amendment right for staff to do whatever they want, as long as it's off of work time and off of the village property. Right.
and that was clarified during the meeting.
Yes, the village attorney said that.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
To piggyback on what the gentleman said about Villa, when I sleep with my windows open, we've had conversations that I've heard it. I don't think it's all racing. I think we could make killing in tickets because I think there's a lot of drunk driving. Because I'll hear the motorcycles going down and it's like, okay, shift out of first because you need to go to second or they totally skip gear, so you know they're driving drunk too. So I think we could get a double whammy with speeding and drunk driving because they're out leaving the bars.
Try Kenilworth at 2 o'clock in the morning after the bar
Yeah.
closed. 'Cause the motorcycles-
That's why I leave at
Yeah.
1:30.
There you go.
So we'll just close Villa overnight.
Yeah,
And tell you that you can go to sleep.
yeah.
We can make it straight dining.
Or at least we'll close it between Washington and Van Buren, you know.
You know, I know they wouldn't do it because I'd love to see it put in the dips, because I don't want speed bumps, I guess, but could you imagine some of those idiots hitting the dips?
Well, my
Do
BMW.
you realize that with those speed bumps, if somebody goes over it fast enough and they bottom their oil
Yeah.
can out and cracks it,
Yeah.
the village is liable for the damage.
Oh my God.
So, spike strips, now we're talking. I mean, boom, ambulance right on the driveway, will pick your ass up, bring you to the hospital. Then we're gonna ticket you.
No.
Cause,
It's viable,
Cause
just not constitutional.
we've been building a case against, the Motel 6, I know we kinda got strats under wrap, but
Yeah.
Motel 6, I mean, as often as I turn on my scanner, which isn't that often, I'll turn it on at night and someone's either getting domestically abused or it's overdosing on drugs or they're sliding in the lawn. I mean,
Yeah.
at what point, I mean, they're $61 a night, everyone else is $100 a night, so it's like Party Central on the weekends.
This is one I.
The last I talked to the manager, which was about 2 months ago, he said that the calls had gone down there, but they may have started coming
There
out.
was one time like it was 3 in 5 days.
Yeah,
between
now that-
overdoses and someone getting.
Yeah, now it's the
beat up.
summer's here, maybe that it's kind of spiking again, but yeah, we can look at that.
Is there a quick update on the property north of the train station?
Yeah, we approved the redevelopment agreement with them a couple of meetings ago. And they are in the process of getting their financing. They're hoping to,
This is a new builder.
the same guy, same guy. Yeah, but the same guy that's had it for
It's
3
like a
years.
6 punch at it.
And he is, he's got timelines that he's gotta meet. And we're hoping that they'll be breaking ground yet this year. But we'll wait and see. I mean, he's got another,
I think it's
45
90 and then 90, so it brings it to like after the first year, because that was like June or July, wasn't it, Karen?
well, we've got,
End of June.
pardon me?
Was it the end of June?
He's supposed to start, the way it's written is he's supposed to start construction by,
Something was, it was
probably-
like 90 days.
yeah, he's got,
and then
he's
he
got
had
90
to
days to
get
get the
another
financing, to show us the financing, and then I think he's got another 90 days to get the permit, because he's gotta reapply for the permits. And then, but he's hoping to get things done quicker and
So I was like, I-
possibly break ground yet this year. Well, whether it happens, I don't know, but we're definitely moving along with it.
Well, it's a good thing you're finally holding his feet to the fire.
Right,
Yeah.
The board been kind of aggressive, you know, but
yeah,
you only have him, there's nobody else out there.
Yeah.
You got the fish on the line, but now you gotta get him in the boat.
yeah,
And that's been the problem for about 16 years now.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Can't get the boat, can't get him in the boat.
Yeah, yeah, and there was talk about, you know, taking it over eminent domain, but now you're looking at another year, you're looking at millions of dollars, and this guy's got at least the basis there, so we're hoping he's
As
gonna
long
go.
as it's not underwritten by
You
HUD.
got those
Yeah.
words recorded in 90 days, so therefore we can see?
It's in the RDA, so
Okay.
it's in there.
The only encouraging part of that
he's heavily invested in it.
Right, yeah,
So he doesn't have a big incentive to walk away from
Right.
that. And he demonstrates that by him attending all the meetings here.
Right.
Otherwise, he was just sending somebody. But
Oh, he
he's
only
in there.
attends when he needs something, other than that, when he has to put his feet in the fire.
Well, not-
Like, he was here at the last meeting and he
Yeah.
didn't say anything.
no,
So-
he's got a new attorney, he got it about 3 months ago, I think, and, the attorney finally told him, you gotta do this, and,
I just hope he gets his deal done before the county takes it done.
yeah, right, then we're done, yeah. Yeah, Joe?
So, any word on when there'll be a presentation of the grade separation feasibility study? Because you just noted about that property. I was in a Zoom meeting and the manager, Arline, said that if Ardmore Avenue is considered for a grade separation, you're kind of in a corner with us, like a chicken and the egg kind of situation, where will that project interfere with
Mhm.
the, whatever they're calling it nowadays, Ecoterra or whatever.
Yeah.
Garden, whatever.
It's Ecoterra now,
Yeah.
yeah.
And will one interfere with the other and one taken out of consideration because they've already started? And so I know that was, was passed last year or earlier this year, and is it in limbo, or have they set a date when they're gonna give you the final determination?
Hey, to be honest, I don't know where it's at. The last, we had talked about it up here, and then we had the presentation, and I think they were going to, the phase 1 portion of it, but, we can check on that.
Thanks.
Donna?
I had talked to someone, I don't remember, she was on the economic development or community development group, whatever it was. But they were supposed to be getting together kind of a map as far as what we have is like, how many restaurants do we have, how many hairdressing places do we have, kind of catalog to know what we have versus what we need. And I know when Christine was on the board, she had asked for it, and they were in the process of doing it. I don't know if that ever came to life.
Well, what happens is when they get it together, in 18 months it changes.
No,
Not until it works.
Oh, no, there's been 20-something
Do you know what I'm
businesses
talking
in
about
18
next?
months.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's actually, what it's called, and I don't think it's part of the strategic planning, but it's kind of gives us, like, the big word was a working document
Yeah.
of what we have,
Yeah.
what we need.
Or baseline, yeah.
You know, so like, when someone comes in and they want, oh, well, we want to put another gambling parlor in, well, if we got 8 of them, we really
yeah.
don't need that 9th one.
We got 2 dispensaries, 9 gambling places, 5 tattoo parlors, and 16 duckeries.
Hey, we got 3 dispensaries.
You snuck one in on me? I better
Come on,
go
give
get,
up the smile.
I better go get registered. I've got to go get registered.
It's gonna be one of those parties tomorrow.
Yeah, I know EDC had talked about doing that, I know yeah, that was, yeah. I'll check with,
So when someone comes, I mean, the board has a reference document to say, you know what, I
Yeah.
think we have 9 and our town is this
Do a little
big.
more research.
It's a document they can look at instead of having to drive around and
Yeah.
count how many.
Didn't we have that, we welcome new businesses in the Village Matters thing, spring and fall? We listed all the businesses that came in, but we never listed the ones that went out. But that used to
You
be
just
the
need
Village
a
Matters.
baseline.
yeah. Kristen?
First and foremost, I never want it documented that I agree with Ralph.
That's okay.
The option to put timelines on
The
some of
gummies
these
finally kicked in.
No, it's antibiotics, Ralph.
Yeah.
We
No,
look-
not my gummies.
Oh, you're, really? Can we put
Remember, this is
timelines on this
consensual.
stuff, for heaven's sake? It's been longer, well, for Ralph, although his math was bad when he said 2000 and then 2014.
You're right.
But,
Yeah. Hey, 2014.
irregardless,
I
it's
lose a
too
decade.
long.
That
Can
was
we
the
put
gummies.
timelines on these conversations? How long are we gonna talk about Airbnbs? How long are we gonna talk about bad sidewalks? It seems like the same stuff comes up month after month into year after year. Can we say like, we're gonna get an answer in 3 months, 6 months,
Yeah,
1 year? But I mean, we're talking, how many years later, we're still talking about the same
Well-
Airbnbs and,
Remember when you were here that one time when you were on the board and you were talking about that you had to get your heating replaced, your furnace?
the furnace and the.
Yeah, you had to get your furnace replaced and you had problems, the village was giving you a hard time.
Well, we needed 2 permits, 2 different permits at that time for each of the 2 being replaced by the same vendor at the same time.
And again, middle of winter to get your furnace replaced and there's basically saying, oh, well, you can't do anything until you get your permits. That's just sorta, like I said, we need to get a little charm school and a little common sense among some of our staff.
Well, and we could use a little business etiquette in returning phone calls. I mean, as a business professional, I left a voicemail message for a staff person over a week ago who's never had the courtesy to even call me back. Now, one did and one didn't, and I'm not gonna cite who they are, but I would like to think from a professional perspective that we give people 24 to 48 hours, and even if we can't help them, at least call them back and say, hey, I got your message.
I
Refer
don't
them to
know.
somebody else, I don't know, or this isn't appropriate for us to be discussing. I don't care what you tell me, but to just blow people up is not really a good thing.
Well, I got a phone call last week, 4th of July week. Neighbor down the street called, says, Al, I gotta get my air conditioner replaced, I'm having people over for the holidays, do I need a permit? I said, yeah, the contractor said yes. So he went over to the village across the street to get his permit for the new air conditioner. And he said, well, I told him it's probably over the counter, you can get that. He said, there's no, well, we write up the permit, but there's nobody here to sign it, they're on vacation.
Yeah.
So, what the heck, so I told you just go back there and you tell them somebody's gonna sign this permit. And if they don't, give me a call back.
And you have the right to
I
remain
didn't
silent.
I didn't get a call back.
Well, again,
Come on.
you know what?
Yeah, I
we're
can't
gonna
believe- yeah,
agree on this,
it's-
'cause it's 20 years now. I mean, it's been 20 years and we've gone through differences. And Danita has been a breath of fresh air over what we had
Yeah.
before. But the reality is we've been talking about Mick now for 20 damn
Well,
years.
this isn't Mick, this is the people.
It doesn't matter, it's the same group, and again, it starts from the top and works its way out.
It's coverage.
Thursday nights, over at Caps, after 5:30. The people you're talking about are sitting there. It's called the Catholic Walk.
Oh. Well, that's.
You know, the last time I got in trouble there, yeah, then they're gonna call the cops on me, there you go.
all right, anybody else?
I did have something that came
Yeah.
up from a neighbor regarding mosquito abatement since
Mhm.
the news came out. They just wanted to know what is are we responsible for the mosquito abatement that's going around town? Is that DuPage County?
No, we contract with Clark Spring.
Okay, that's
and
what
they-
I thought. And
yeah.
is that something that is continual throughout the summer?
Yeah, they spray certain times and then they go around and they, like the sewers, they'll drop stuff in the sewers and things like that. There's a whole program that they do.
It was on the news this morning that the first West Nile
Yeah,
was in DuPage, in Villa Park.
Little
Right,
Park.
That's why it came
They
up.
said it was around St. Charles and Ardmore,
Right there.
so,
They
okay.
can't really do anything because all
Okay, anyone else?
Meeting adjourned.
Last thing, the 3 of you guys up there, have any of you been to the Thursday Kangaroo Court?
Yes, I have.
No, I have not.
You haven't been there in 3 years.
No, I've been there, but I haven't been there in a while, but yeah, I
3
have gone to
years.
those.
Girls on her first day.
No,
basis
probably-
with that judge.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Probably about a year ago, I was at the last one,
And the judge before that.
yeah.
She was.
No, the last judge
No,
before
but
that
I'm
was
guessing
nice,
that
she's
it's
nice.
I always saw Officer Terry.
You know what, Ralph, I have not been since the new judge has been here, so whenever that was,
You know
yeah.
what?
Not
We're
a
talking about civility and being nice to the residents, and these old people here that are sitting there. I just said to the lady when they were walking there, I said, just wait, now you're gonna replace your garage, and now you gotta replace your driveway. And then, oh yeah, by the way, you graded your driveway wrong, so now you gotta take it out because there's water ponding at your next door neighbor. Please,
Yeah.
just try to make an effort to go to that.
Yeah.
First Thursday, third Thursday.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a while, but yeah, I'll try to get there.
If you're gonna get things done,
When you shoot your-
Mark,
when you
you
shoot
do
your
it
goal.
and then beg forgiveness.
When you shoot your
The
coat,
only
you
way to-
better how to shoot trees. You gotta do it yourself, you better do it right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, anyone else? All right, we'll close at 10:05.
Have a good day, Larry.
Yeah, on the minutes
I'm sorry, we're closed.
well, this is an attendance.
One second.
This is an easy one.
Yeah, hold on.
You have the municipal court.